On behalf of BizTimes and our event partner, the MMAC, and sponsor Old National Bank, welcome to the 2022 Future 50 Awards Luncheon. And now, here to introduce our Fastest Five, representing the University of Wisconsin-Parkside, is Tanette Ellie.
These are companies which, based on the information verified on their applications, earned them the highest point totals for revenue and employment growth. And number 5, Wixon. Founded in 1907 and based in St. Francis, Wixon produces seasonings, ingredients, and flavors for the food industry. In the past 3 years, the company has commercialized over 593 new items with $36.4 million in sales. More than 31% of its 2021 sales were from new products. We'll hear from President Pete Gottsacker. Number 4 is Bliffert Lumber and Hardware. Founded in 1904 and based in Oak Creek, Bliffert is a supplier of building materials and hardware to contractors and homeowners, primarily located in southeastern Wisconsin. The company has 260 employees, and its sales for this year are projected at $240 million. We'll hear from Vice President Josh Brown. And number 3, Mars Solution Group. Waukesha-based Mars Solution Group is a technical staffing and consulting firm that helps clients hire top-tier talent in tech-related fields. We'll hear from President and CEO Rashi Khosla. Number 2, Bevco Engineering Company. Founded in 1996, Sussex-based Bevco designs and builds electrical control systems and panels for the industrial and healthcare markets. We'll hear from CEO Chris Shult. And number 1, the fastest growing of the 2022 Future 50 companies is Doral Corporation. Based in Milwaukee and founded in 1972, Doral provides machinery, moving and rigging, material handling, and medical fabrication services to companies in the food and beverage, construction, and manufacturing industries. The company has 250 employees and has added around 100 full-time employees in the last 18 months, with plans to add another 50 to 100 positions in the next 18 months. As of last year, the company has grown to more than $100 million in annual sales. We will hear from President and CEO Scott Doro. And now I will turn it over to Corry Joe Biddle, Vice President of Community Affairs for the MMAC and Executive Director of Fuel Milwaukee, who will moderate the panel discussion with the leaders of the Fastest 5 companies.
Thank you so much. I'm moderating this panel discussion, and my job is to get to the secret sauce. I'm going to crack the code for all of you so you can understand the behind the scenes, strategies, secrets of these amazing leaders. The Fastest 5, we have 30 minutes to do this. So we're truly going to be the Fastest 5, and I'm going to ask the questions. Now, I always, anytime I moderate a panel, I'll say, this is like our version of the red table talk. We're just friends, we're sitting around. Because we have 30 minutes, we have to pretend we're at a restaurant and the server is like hovering over us and we have to hurry up and go. So we're gonna get the good details, but we're gonna have to do it briefly. If I'm not getting the questions you want, just shout out, like, more detail. I'll listen, I'll respond to you, okay? You ready? All right, so we've all seen either the profiles or the brief bios in the publication. Everyone has. Make sure you take that with you and check it out. And then we heard a lot of detail in the brief bios as you all walked onto the stage. I want to start off with, getting into the strategy of this growth. So we've seen the growth. Where is it coming from? What was the approach? Where was the strategy? Let's start though with Wixon. 600 new products. Where did that come from? What was the idea? And if we go in the store, where can we taste those? What products can we buy and taste your work?
Well, I love it when you talk about secret sauce because that's what we make. We're a food flavor seasoning company, and kind of the elevator speech is if you like that long-lasting cinnamon flavor and big red gum, that's us in there. If you bite into a McDonald's Canadian bacon, there's a lovely cherry pineapple flavor in the Egg McMuffin. That's us in there. That's what we do. So we create new products, over 250 new products introduced last year out of our R&D department of over 15 people that are just constantly thinking about what tastes good and what the consumer will like and buy next.
15. Dedication. That's dedication. Let's talk afterwards because that's some things I want to taste, and I think you can help us out with that.
You're hired.
Don't tell Tim. Josh, how about you? If you had to pinpoint where the growth was coming from, where?
Well, I mean, everything that we do is down to the building industry that we work in, and growth for the economy is generally good for us, but obviously there's a lot of choices out there. So we have focused on expanding our product offerings as well. Nothing that you can eat. But when I started, it was mainly a lumberyard. We did some windows, we did a little bit of doors. Since then, we've grown to sell cabinets, roofing, just about anything you need to build a house, and besides the concrete foundation. So as we add those products and we add the people, that's where the growth comes from.
Rashi?
Yeah, so Mars provide people that help these companies create their secret sauce. So we're in staffing industry, and we all know here there's labor shortage across the board. So we benefited from obviously this huge market demand, but that's just half the equation. I think Mars, we were ready. We were ready with our people, process, technology, had innovative solutions to that labor tightness, and we pivoted effectively and efficiently. So I think that sort of fueled our growth, and we were able to get larger piece of the pie. The demand was there for everybody.
Okay, so our growth came from about 10 years ago, we invested a lot of money in automation, and it was kind of like a little bit of a guesswork, like if we build it, will they come? And we built it, and they came in hordes. From our healthcare industry has more than tripled. If you get an X-ray, a CT, or MRI, chances are you'll see our product either in that imaging suite or outside of it. If you wear Invisalign braces or have wore Invisalign braces, drank a Corona beer, somehow we're touching literally millions of people a day with our products, and it's our basic dedication to taking care of our customers. I think we've grown both from internal customers and adding customers. So that's a little bit of our secret sauce.
Thank
automation.
You. Scott.
So Milwaukee, many decades ago, was known as the machine shop of the world, or of America. And as many of the large manufacturers have gone away, gone bankrupt, we had to look at what else we could do. We're a simple blue-collar type business. We're movers. And we evolved from moving equipment to installing equipment. We had to identify different categories of business. Well, as we analyzed it, food, you can't, you're not exporting food jobs. Food is creative, it's always moving, it's always evolving, so it became a new marketplace for us. Recently, with fulfillment centers and online sales, material handling has become a new marketplace for us. It's expanding, although it's got a little pause as we sit now. But we analyzed it. Once we get into a market, we go in with the gas pedal down, and we attack as much as we possibly can. And it has brought us success. We're always analyzing new markets and looking for new opportunities.
Growth, innovation, because now we're getting to the good part, the best practices. So regardless of industry and background and whatever all the folks listening are doing, they want to do the same thing you've accomplished and have that swift growth and success. So best practices, I asked each of you to kind of prepare two best practices, so let's do them in rounds. I'll go through the whole panel and you give me one, and then we'll do a second round of your second thought, and we'll see what trends and patterns we see. Let's start on the end. Give us a best practice for growth.
I think in the past 2 years when we've had the pandemic, we've had supply chain. It is supply chain execution, best practices, forecasting, being able to anticipate supply chain disruption, making sure your inventories are accurate and available for on-time, in full delivery in this supply chain crazy world. And having a good OTIF to show to your customers is really a powerful tool as you hear all these manufacturers complain about supply chain. So I would say supply chain execution.
Josh?
So I'll say something contradictory to being up here with the fastest five, but one of our mottos is we don't do anything fast, which is, I guess, in a lot of ways true, but obviously in some ways not. And what we mean by that is when we look at the opportunities for growth, and we have expanded quite a bit over the years with acquisitions, we really take a measured approach and pore over the numbers and make sure that everything is just going to work out for us. But when we take that time, we then go and we do it in chunks. So after we've done our due diligence and we've just taken a step back over and over again, we then take 100 steps forward and move quickly.
Mm-hmm. Rashi?
So we are a service business, and I think it's the balance between people, process, and technology. And our team, everybody that works at Mars, we call ourselves Martians. We've got a table of Martians there. So, you need to have the best people. Those are your biggest assets. And what it translates to in action is that innovation, the agility that we needed. So labor market was tight. Everybody's out hunting for talent. And we were focused on finding ways that we could meet the demand through creativity. And we launched a program called Mars Returnship. It's essentially going against like non-traditional pools of talents. We're upskilling, reskilling, a large pool of talent that's often overlooked. So I think we were hunting good, but we were also focused on staying ahead of the trends, and I think that's our secret sauce.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
So I think one of our secret sauces is our workforce. All of our employees being very, very flexible. About 3 years ago, instead of having a scheduled production time, we went to a flex schedule that allowed our employees to work basically anywhere between 5 a.m. and 5 p.m. and we didn't care when you worked within that time frame. It was more a matter of getting your time in. So we're able to recruit more employees because of that workforce, because of our flexible schedule. And then from a retention standpoint, they're able to work around their home life. So we've just provided a better work environment for them.
Contrary to that, we have no flexible work schedule because we work at our customers' demands, and in the contracting industry, it can be weekends, nights, holidays. But our secret sauce in being able to accomplish the work on the weekends, nights, and holidays is, once again, the people. We build from a very young age, I would say. We're heavily involved with the apprenticeship programs. We run 3 different trades: sheet metal people, iron workers, and millwrights, and we always have a half a dozen of each of those trades on staff all the time. And as soon as somebody graduates, we put another person in. The goal is to build the culture and build them into first an apprentice, then a journeyman, hopefully a foreman, and project manager. And the goal is to have them from, I guess, a cradle to grave type thought. We want them to retire with us, and because of it, we have a very strong team, and we have a young team, and it shows, and they're hungry, and it has paid off.
Second round of best practices.
For us, it has to be our R&D. They're constantly on the cutting edge of what's new trend, what's new in nutrition, what's new for convenience, and keeping them as their blade as sharp as possible is really what has created and sustained us over 100 years in which Wixon's been in existence.
Have you always had 15 R&D people, or is that new?
No, we continue to add with growth as demand, new projects, and as new projects come in, we've had to increase that. We had to increase that. I would say 10 years ago, we were at about 12.
Mm-hmm. Okay, Josh.
So continuing the theme, the people are supremely important, and one of the ways that we decided to hopefully attract more people and perpetuate Bliffert lumber into the future is we decided to start to move towards an ESOP, and this last year Eli Bliffford sold 30% of the company to the employees, and he did it at not a huge gain to himself. He did it to sustain the company, to continue to attract people, to show people what their future was, and continuing on what Scott said, every person that I interview, when I make them a job offer, I tell them that the goal of this transaction is for you to retire here. So we keep pushing on that. And one little anecdote, I actually had an employee come up to me the other day and say, I come home so happy from work that my 12-year-old daughter said that she wants to work at Bliffert one day because she wants to be that happy when she comes home from work.
Aww.
I am not making that up. No one has ever said anything like that to me before, but
Wow.
It happened.
That's awesome. Rashi.
So I'm staying with the theme too. I think innovation's how everything that we do at Mars, especially in a industry that's a staffing industry, that's an old beast, trying to introduce innovation in process is hard, but it's all because of the people. And I think the way you do that is define yourself as a culture-first company. So we've taken our culture seriously, our mission, and aligning everybody to it. And I think that's sort of remains our secret sauce.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, one of the other things, I mentioned it earlier, but automate, automate, automate. This workforce shortage is not going away. And one of the things that we found out when we took our gamble in 2012 and invested in equipment that was probably way over our skis as far as revenue goes, we bring customers in for a tour and they're like, man, are you guys progressive? And the fact that we looked as progressive to them as we did then and we still do today, a lot of our growth came as a result of that. So just continue to automate.
For Doral, it's putting the best tools in the hands of our employees. So it's technology, it is automation. We've added robotics to our shop. Everybody thinks you're going to add robotics and you're going to eliminate employees. We have the exact opposite effect. With every robot we add a few more people. They make people more productive. With our field operations, it's buying the newest technology to once again empower the people. We try to be creative and innovative for our customers, and by bringing some of the new moving technology, we can streamline our projects, which gives us a competitive advantage.
Everybody talked about their people, and I really kind of want to get into the culture of your organizations and the empowerment. There is an author, Tony Schwartz, he wrote The Way We're Working Isn't Working, and he talks about growth culture and as opposed to productivity culture, and really empowering your people with curiosity and testing and the ability to push the envelope and ask questions and challenge in a way that really drives innovation. All of you have talked about that, and I'm really curious about the role of your people in the success, which you kind of touched on in the last question, but how you fostered a culture where people can feel comfortable, support the growth, and be a part of it. Anybody can jump in there. Maybe Rashi, we'll start with you, because I met one of your staffers yesterday who did not know that I was doing this with you today, and she talked about what a great leader you are and how happy she is to be working for your organization. How do you drive that?
Yeah, so for me, it starts with my why. I started the business. I quit my IT leadership role because I was struggling with work-life balance, and this was almost a decade ago. That was my why. I wanted to spend more time with my girls, who are now 21 and 17, but they were pretty young at the time, and I couldn't do it. And you know, inclusion and diversity, yeah, they were words, but it wasn't as serious as it's now. So I think just having that why helped. My why changed, it's evolved, but I based the culture on that very concept of work-life balance. And I actually like to use the term work-life harmony, because it could be different for everybody. And Martians do enjoy that sort of sense of community and that flexibility. But I think the other aspect of getting your people together and fueling motivation, motivating them to innovate and have that leverage for decision making is aligning them to a purpose. And I think our program with Returnship is serving that purpose for the community. Everybody comes in, feels good about what they're doing, or at least contributing to. And I do think that makes it a little bit easier for your staff to feel good about what they're doing.
Mm-hmm. So, Chris, you talked about investing in talent when we talked on the phone and prep for this. And Josh, 120-year-old company and 260 employees. This was a political science major who spent one day at work and never left. So he completely changed his career. So clearly the culture had an impact. Scott, adding 100 employees and maybe another 100. I mean, all of your cultures are completely changing. How are you balancing growth, innovation with tradition and maybe tenured employees that, are used to the way it was, but have to be open-minded to what is happening now?
So number one, Eli Bliffford was also a political science major. So I think that's the only reason why I got the job initially, because I had no experience and did not know what I was doing. But something that he did early on, which was I was hired through a staffing agency, and honestly I thought it was going to be a temporary job. I'm from the East Coast originally, and I had no intention of staying here. And within 3 weeks, I think I was sitting in Eli's office and he was asking me questions about, what I saw. You're the youngest guy here. What are we doing with computers? I mean, stuff that I really didn't know anything about, but I just appreciated the conversation. And that's kind of how we've developed going forward, is anytime we bring on someone new, after they're there for just a month or so, I want to talk to them. I want to know what they're seeing. I want to listen to their ideas and see what they have to offer.
Anybody can jump in on that one.
I'll jump in. There's a gentleman sitting at our table that started working for us right out of high school, sweeping floors, and went from position to position to position and learned a whole bunch of stuff. And he kept going, why are we doing it this way? Or how about if we do it this way? And he's our continuous improvement manager now today. So fostering that culture is kind of hard. But the reality is, I don't know everybody's job. How can I dictate to them how to do their job best? The best way for them to do their job best is to give them the ability to try to do it and give them the tools and the resources to do it. And I think that if you can do that, it's going to help you grow a lot and manage that growth a lot better than if you're mandating how things get done.
Yep. Say something?
Our core values are kind of unique. One of them, which we promote to our people, first of all, obviously being in construction, we're in dangerous places all the time. So our first core value is safety first. The second one, or the last one, but the second in this conversation, is fun. And even though we're working in difficult places, it can be cold, dirty, hot. It is about working safe and having fun. One of the other ones is bleed blue, and our people do bleed blue because of the fact that we embrace those core values and that they know they're coming in and it's a lifetime job, not just a job.
Mm-hmm. Let's talk about challenges that you've faced along with this rapid growth. I'm sure there's been new challenges and different challenges and how you've overcome them. What do you want to share about that? Nobody's owning up to the challenges.
Oh, okay.
No challenges. No, go
So
ahead.
the biggest challenge for us is workforce and supply chain.
Yeah.
And we spend a lot of time with our, as I've just talked about, is working with our employees, but also from a supplier standpoint, we view them as partners. We share an awful lot of revenue and strategy with them so that they can understand what we're doing and get prepared for what's coming. Because if we can't get parts or we don't have a workforce, we can't grow. So,
Peter, you said the same thing, anticipate supply chain. Say a little bit more about that. How do you anticipate it? How do you overcome it? How do you, I mean, obviously everybody is dealing with this and there's some things you just can't control, but can you get in front of it?
Well, having developed long relationships with your suppliers, and it leads to culture. I mean, the spice industry is the second oldest profession in the world. And those relationships are still there. But when there's a typhoon in Sri Lanka, that means the pepper crop is at risk. We better buy ahead, buy those contracts, contact our suppliers in Sri Lanka. Afghanistan, the war in Ukraine is causing all sorts of supply chain issues secondary. It's that type of experience and relationship building, and that goes to culture, corporate culture, that really has made us successful through these challenges, both of supply chain and people.
Mm-hmm. Any other challenges that have been overcome?
I mean, on the inventory front, we made it a point to just buy everything that we could. I mean, it was an expensive endeavor, but we felt like in our business, if we had it and our competitor didn't, then we were going to win that battle, because it's hard to go to a gunfight without a gun. So that was definitely one of our strategies. Another challenge that we've faced because of our fast growth, and not necessarily because of the world we live in today, is going from a $10 million a year company with 20 employees to where we are now with 250. We all had a mentality of everybody does a little bit of everything. So that's great. And it's great that sometimes people see Eli Bliffford clean the bathroom because he still operates under that mentality. Mm-hmm. But at the same time, is our company really best served with him cleaning a toilet? No. Right. So it's hard for us to let that mentality go, because it was so long and so ingrained that you see something, you just do it. But we're learning.
I don't want to see Tim cleaning the toilet. We gotta stop that. Protect Eli. Other challenges.
Yeah, I think it's a similar theme. We've been on rapid growth trajectory. We've grown 230% in the last 3 years, doubling your staff, tripling your staff. It's very important to preserve what's at the core of your business, the culture, and I think that's a challenge.
Mm-hmm. Others?
It's been building the structure to handle the increased revenue. I'm not a structure guy. I actually don't like it. So having to add it, there are things you have to do, but getting it done and filling in the positions and having, not that you want official titles, but people in those roles to accommodate the growth. Implementing a new management system has been interesting, entertaining, and a little difficult for me, opening up to everybody what the company's about, and taking what I've always considered to be internal, like family information and allowing it exposure to a team.
Yep.
It was very uncomfortable, but part of the process. And we're all growing because of it, and it's been very beneficial.
So as we wrap up here, and you receive this recognition and the appreciation that comes from it, I'm sure internally you're looking forward. What is next after such aggressive growth? How do you assess what's next, and what are some of the next steps that you can share? What's next for your organization?
Well, for us, it is to assimilate, again, with that growth. Inflation has hit us, supply chain disruptions has caused us to slow our inventory turns down. We have to execute better on that's the, it's swallowing the big minnow, getting the supply chain, getting our inventories right-sized, and getting the workforce to be as efficient as possible in all the workforce disruption that we have.
Mm-hmm.
Well, the housing market's a bit of an uncertain future, but we're prepared to continue to grow. We are still adding people. We're looking for people all the time to get better and better every day. We want to keep expanding our footprint. That's not a secret. We want to continue to expand everywhere we can in Wisconsin and wherever it brings us beyond there.
And we'll continue to invest in alternate talent pipelines. I think we're just barely scratching the surface in terms of demand in that area. As we witness more and more digital transformation or workforce disruption that's led by that, or robotics process automation, I think Scott made a comment about needing more people, not less, but it is a disruption of a sort. So we'll continue to invest in it. The other thing that our clients are asking consistently is diverse team. And our traditional way or source of hiring, it just doesn't cut the demand. So I think investing in alternate talent pipelines is our growth strategy.
So ours is, again, we expect a lot of growth next year, and we're continuing to look at what we can do to automate and pushing some of our machine builders to come up with better ways for us to work. Most of our equipment comes from Europe, and Europeans like to kind of control and don't think we in the U.S. know what we're doing from a technical standpoint. So we're convincing them to allow us to work with their equipment the way we want to work with it rather than the way they think we should work with it, I think is one of the things. And then secondly is making sure from a leadership standpoint that we've got the bandwidth to be able to manage the growth in addition to our workforce.
Scott has the last word.
We're going to continue to analyze our markets, go where we know that there's opportunities. We're going to continue to build relationships with our existing companies, our customers, and look to find more. And we will be looking at other locations around the country where opportunity presents itself.
Well, congratulations to all of you for all of your growth and for this recognition. It is well deserved. Thank you for taking care of your people and investing in them. For my talent scope, that really excites me, and I'm excited about all of the professionals that are going to be learning so much in your companies. If you have a kid that just graduated, a cousin that needs a job, this is who you come to right here. They're hiring. All of them are hiring. So again, let's give them a hand. Thank you so much for sharing.